Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Froe Show. My name is Frank Mankin and I'm joined, as always, by my beautiful co-host...
Hello, Frank. I gotta wait for that every week.
I know, I'm trying to see how long I can make you wait for.
Oh.
Just because I think it'd be fun.
I reckon a whole hour.
Just not let you talk for the full hour.
Yeah.
Just like, alright.
Challenge accepted.
Alright, so cool. So, yeah.
I see what's happening.
No, I won't. I would never do that to you. Welcome to the show. This is episode 27.
27.
27?
Yeah.
Is it? I don't remember.
Yes,
It is 27. So, last week's episode was interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so context.
Mm-hmm.
Joe and I both couldn't record. Well, Joe couldn't record on Thursday.
No.
And I couldn't really record on Friday.
No. Well, neither could I.
Neither could you.
No.
So we recorded like really early in the morning on Friday. And then I went away from Friday to Sunday with no internet connection.
Oh.
So I had to edit the entire episode on Sunday night at like 9 p.m. for a Monday morning release. So I didn't have time to do any clips or anything. So there was no clips last week.
Sorry.
Hope that was fine. The thumbnail. Joe and I, because we were so focused on actually filming the episode, we forgot to shoot a thumbnail. So the thumbnail for last week's episode, for audio listeners who haven't seen it, literally just says, Frank ran out of time, so let's pretend this is a great thumbnail. And it's just a screenshot of the video. So yeah,
great.
this week's episode will be much better.
It will.
We are not rushing this one. We have all day.
Yes.
So no stress. We're good.
Thanks, good. Thank goodness for that. I said
Thank you to goodness.
So thanks, Frank, but I don't know why I'm thanking you.
Yeah, no, it was kind of my fault, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was both of us.
Yeah.
Both of us were very busy, but we couldn't miss an episode.
No, we couldn't.
We
were
just
determined to get an episode out.
We were.
It was good.
So I have a new program that I've been working in.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to tell you about it because it is very quickly, I think, going to replace Adobe products for me.
Really?
Yes.
Ooh.
So, Blackmagic has their own program.
Oh.
And this program is called Davinci Resolve.
Okay.
And it's most notably been used as the industry standard for colorists.
Right.
So you've been used to color grade movies like Avatar, Jason Bourne, Kingsman. It's the industry standard for color grade, really.
Right. Yeah.
And in the past little over a year or so, Blackmagic has decided to fully build out this editing suite as a full editing suite and not just a color grading software. And it came for free, the full version, the full studio version.
Wow.
With my camera.
Huh. That's really cool.
Which is very cool.
Yeah.
And I have to say, it is really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Now, the reason that what makes it so good, and I was a bit apprehensive at first because I had to get used to everything. Like the whole thing was completely different. Yeah. So I did have to kind of get used to everything all over again. But like Premiere, it has the ability to set your own shortcuts and that sort of thing. So
that's cool.
I just made all of the shortcuts the same as what I've been using in Premiere. So that made my life significantly easier. But what makes Resolve so much better over Premiere for me is that in Premiere, you can dynamic link to other programs. So in Premiere, you can go, okay, I have a Premiere file, and I want to add some VFX to this footage. So I'll right-click on the footage and go right-click, edit in Adobe After Effects. And you wait for Adobe After Effects to open, and then the file is in After Effects, and you can work on it, and then you save it, and it ends up back in your file, which is great. Dynamic link, very good idea.
Yeah.
Resolve has everything built into its software. Wow. So it has a media storage section, so basically Adobe Bridge. It has a simple cutting section for laptop editing. It has a full editing suite. with audio syncing and effects and just
Wow.
everything that Adobe has,
Yeah.
and more. It has Fusion, which is a lot like Blender.
Yep.
It's a node-based VFX/editing section. Then it has the color section, which is a node-based coloring space.
Mm.
Unlike Premiere's, which is just more similar to Lightroom, so lots of sliders and stuff.
Yeah.
And node-based means that it's essentially a layer on top, and you can delete anything in between that you don't want anymore. So say you have your base file, and then you make it black and white, and then you change the contrast. If later on you decide, oh, I don't actually want that black and white, you can just delete that node, and everything after it will remain.
Right.
Whereas in Premiere, you would have to find that specific section and then be like, okay, put that back up, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you can have individual nodes for individual things. And then the thing that I think you'll like and that you'll really want
Yes.
is it's something called Fairlight.
Okay.
And it's Resolve's audio space.
Yeah.
And it is essentially a full DAW built inside of video editing software.
Wow.
So it allows you to do sound effects and Foley and everything like that, with full audio editing capabilities, so with no limits.
Wow.
Which I was super blown away by.
Yeah.
And it's all like multi-track. I'll show you later.
Yeah, you'll have to show me.
But I think you will really want it.
I am very keen.
Because, and the other reason is, it is free.
Oh.
There is a free version available that you can use without limits. And the only advantage of the paid version is that you get a bunch of effects. So you get all of the effects that are in the Davinci library. So so you won't have to do that with keyframes and stuff. You can just go cross dissolve, stuff like that. Or you can add film grain or blur.
Yeah.
Or one of the things that I really like, and this is the thing. Premiere, in my personal opinion, has become complacent as an industry standard. So they've just gone, oh, well, this worked 10 years ago, therefore we don't have to change it.
Right.
And then I switched to Resolve, or I'm currently in the process of switching to Resolve, and I'm getting things like, in the color grading section, there's an active face tracking thing. So rather than having to track what I was doing in Premiere, rather than having to make masks out of like our skin tones,
Yeah.
I can just face track,
That's really cool.
which is significantly easier.
Yeah.
So just like little life improvements like that, that make it so much easier to do a complex edit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I switched over to that yesterday. I'm currently figuring it out. But I really hope that it continues to get the support that it's getting, because I really, really want to switch.
Yeah.
Like fully.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
The only thing that I would still need Adobe products for would be Photoshop and Lightroom. And then I can drop my Adobe subscription from $55 a month to $15.
Wow. Yeah, for this free thing.
Yeah, well,
free
I
product.
have the studio version. So, with all of the Blackmagic cinema cameras that you get the studio version of the product.
Yeah.
For free with it, with 2 activation keys. So currently I have one used on my desktop, and I think I'll use another one on my laptop.
Very nice. That's really cool, because when I do any sort of Foley editing, it's in Pro Tools.
Yeah.
But if we're working on something together, I can't do any video editing in that DAW.
Yeah.
But that sounds really cool. Maybe I could touch up video editing to fit my music or something.
And also, it is collaborative.
Oh.
So 2 people can work on the same project at the same time.
That is
in
really
different
cool.
spaces.
That is very cool. Pro Tools does something very similar.
Yeah,
And
it is so sick.
Yeah.
So sick.
That is really cool.
So yeah, I'll let you have a play around in that later. But literally, just download the free version and have a play around in Fairlight. And it's just awesome.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I really like it.
I
So
will definitely do that.
would recommend. Also, I should probably acknowledge that I'm a bit snotty, because I feel like you'll definitely hear that in the recording. I'm a bit snotty. I'm fine. It's just a cold.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. No stress. I was just exhausted over the weekend and just caught a cold.
Yep. I get that.
I hate that we have to say that now. That like
It's a cold.
it's a cold, guys.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I'm not going to die. All right. Do you want to go into the news?
Yeah, still.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Froe News. I'm your anchor, Frank Mankin, and I'm joined by my co-anchor, Joe Murray.
Hello.
I kind of forgot that I had to do the intro there for a second.
You're like, what's next?
What's
me?
I was like, who's going to say it? All right. So
I mean, I'm just so used to you saying it.
I know. Maybe you should say it one day. I think
Maybe I
that'd be
should.
fun.
I will.
Then I can be your co-anchor.
Yeah.
I would like that.
Okay.
All right, next week you're going to lead it.
Alrighty.
All right, to start us off, Walking Dead has finally announced that they are coming to an end after their 11th season. That was announced today, the 10th of September.
Nice.
Thanks.
The iHeartRadio Music Awards were released online over the weekend. The live show was cancelled because of coronavirus restrictions. But some of the winners were Billie Eilish for Best Female Artist of the Year, Lizzo for Song of the Year with Truth Hurts. The Jonas Brothers won Duo or Group of the Year, and Taylor Swift for the Album of the Year with her album Lover.
Oh, Lover. Wasn't it Folklore?
Folklore is her latest one, but
I
think she had one before that.
Oh, I didn't know
It was more of a like old Taylor Swift vibes.
Right, I didn't know there was another one.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's quite nice.
sick.
Yeah.
All right. Mulan scores have come in this week. It received a 91 from critics, but a 41 from the audience.
Wow.
So don't watch it.
No.
And also, the lead actress is pro Hong Kong. So, I mean, no, pro China, like against Hong Kong. So
What?
it's politics stuff. I'll explain it to you later.
That
But
doesn't-
basically, she's like not great.
Yeah. Right.
Is the gist of it.
Okay. That's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx and his producing partner Dodgy Turner have signed an overall deal with Sony Picture Entertainments this morning to produce feature films. Their first production will be an untitled action thriller written by Joel Taylor, which Fox is set to star in as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
More images of The Mandalorian Season 2 were released today, as well as a new cover for Entertainment Weekly. Did I have in the news last week that The Mandalorian release date was announced?
I think you might have.
I think so. Either way, October 30th, Season 2 starts.
Yeah.
And it'll be weekly every week after that.
Awesome. Thriller film Kidnapped is close to wrapping up production in Australia after its disruption because of coronavirus restrictions. Production is well underway with a shoot happening in Port Douglas that concluded yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. The Oscars have announced a new inclusion requirements for Best Picture eligibility. The Diversity and Inclusion Initiative has been a heavy focus for the Oscars the past few years, shown by the expansive membership initiative. Today, the 10th of September, as part of the Academy Aperture 2025 initiative, AMPAS announced a new representation and inclusion standards in order to be eligible in the Best Picture category. So I'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show, and I'll talk a little bit about what those standards are.
Yeah. Tenet has produced a surprisingly large amount of money after its release, which it gained $53 million overseas. And after its release in the US, it made more than $20 million, which is significantly more than any other film released during the pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah, so $53 million overseas. That was before its release in the US.
So that's $73 million at the moment. That's a fairly solid box office.
Yeah.
Especially considering
it's a pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Solid effort, boys.
Yeah.
Is this the last one?
I think so. I don't have any more.
All right, this is my last one.
Awesome.
Keeping Up with the Kardashians has announced that it is finally coming to an end.
Yes.
After 20 seasons. So the 20th season is going to be the last, and that was announced this week.
Awesome.
So yeah, thanks so much. That was the news. Bye.
Bye.
Joe and I both have very sexy water bottles this week. Wait, I wonder if I can pick that up. Hang on.
This is ASMR Patreon content.
Oh yeah, sorry. We save our drinking ASMR for the Patreon.
Go check it out, patreon.com/Froe.
Oh, good plug, good plug. Oh, I liked that. Yeah, so I did mention about the Oscars.
Yes.
So they have it's look, it's fairly far in advance.
Yeah.
So they have announced these new inclusion and representation standards, and I'll just read what it says. So to be eligible for Best Picture consideration for the 96th Oscars, that's 2024. So these come in 2024.
Okay.
A film must meet 2 out of the 4 standards. And the standards are 1, on-screen representatives, themes, and narratives. B, creative leadership and project team. C, industry access and opportunities. And D, audience development. So it has to be
Right.
inclusive in 2 of those 4 standards.
Right. Okay.
So yeah.
To me, that just makes it say that for it to be eligible, it has to be a film.
Yeah, basically, but it's basically just to stop people from having only all white casts and that sort of thing, and all white crews,
okay.
and creating all white stories. So
Right.
basically, the gist of it is that you have to have either a diverse crew, a diverse cast, a diverse story, or a diverse audience. You have to have 2 of those 4.
Okay.
That's basically the gist of it.
That's cool then.
Yeah, which is I think
That's
is
really
really really good.
Yeah.
And the way that they've made it 2 or 4 means that it's not they're not
It's-
hindering other stories.
Yeah.
But they're kind of also forcing new stories to be told, which is great.
Yeah.
Because so many stories just don't get told because they're not white.
Yeah.
Um, like there was a really really big one recently that got canned. I can't remember. That just goes to show how bad it is. But it was one that sounded really good. I think it was about like the Native American population when the US got colonized. I think it was I think it was about that.
Right.
I can't quite remember what it was, but that sort of thing, and actually getting funding to those things. And obviously there will also be a part of it that's like people being like, oh, well, we want to get an Oscar, so I guess we have to have a diverse cast, or I guess we have to have a diverse crew, which obviously is not a great way
No.
to get to the, like, that should just be like
Cool.
I'm hiring you for your ability
Yeah.
and not because you're not white.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just, but look, it's better than no diversity. That's the thing. I would rather have a diverse cast and crew and story and audience out of necessity, rather than not at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, super
That's
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I want to move on to the next thing, but I think you said something about the second last thing on our board. How you wanted to talk about that first.
Oh, do you want to talk about that now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're up to that.
Okay. I found something really cool this week, and
Did you?
it's to do with films.
Okay.
So I've spoken a lot about recording Foley or doing ADR when you have to.
Yeah.
In scenes that are loud or
Yes, you have.
but I've never ever thought about like if other people sort of accommodate for the sound guy. So I've always been taught, how to fix problems. How do you, if it's a loud scene, how do you fix that? How do you work around all these things? But there's some people, such as prop designers, that actually think about us. And there's a few things in particular. One is so in the US, a lot of people use like brown paper shopping bags. Like you sort of see them come home in films and things like that with these full paper bags.
Yeah.
But I don't know about you, but paper bags are pretty loud. Yeah. So
I'm also pretty loud.
you are. So this prop designer had made let me get this right, vinyl paper bags.
Oh,
so
wow.
There were vinyl bags that looked like paper bags, and they made like little to no noise at all.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and I'd never thought about that.
Wow, yeah. Well, in terms of like people thinking of the sound guy, I'm not sure if it was on the show or if it was something else that I saw, but that reminds me of that thing where when people were shooting dialogue, they'd shoot all the wides and it was like a couple that was walking in Central Park,
Yeah.
and they would shoot all the wides and stuff with them walking on the path.
Yeah.
But when they would shoot the close-ups with the actual dialogue, they would be walking on the grass next to the path,
Oh,
so that there wasn't any sound.
that is
So that
really
was just
cool.
it was just getting the dialogue. I mustn't have talked about it on the show.
No,
if you don't
no.
remember this. But yeah, so they were like walking on the grass while they were shooting the close-ups with the dialogue.
Wow.
And then because it's right next to the path, your brain doesn't register that, oh, they're not walking on the path. Your brain just goes, oh, they must be on the path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just things like
that. I'd never thought about people accommodating for us. It's so
It
nice.
just makes me feel so special.
Yeah. Another thing that he said was pool balls. You know how loud they
Oh,
are?
like the...
Yeah, like
Yeah.
when you hit it and it goes. we'll combine that sound and my sound effect.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. I think we nailed that.
I think we did too.
I think we should make a Foley pack of literally just our sounds.
Unprocessed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah. So instead of using actual pool balls in a scene, that they would use, well, this guy used racket balls, but he'd painted them, and I think they're like a rubber, so they make like very little noise when they hit each other. Definitely not the massive clank when pool balls hit each other. And so yeah, if they're doing a bar scene or something where there's pool happening in the background, not a swimming pool. My goodness.
Right.
Like the game.
Like the game
I'm
pool.
not talking about beach balls.
Okay. That makes so much more sense.
We painted a racquetball.
Do you get my sound effect now? Because I was like,
yeah, I do now. Yeah.
Yeah, I get yours. I was confused by your sound effect.
Yes. So the game pool that is played.
Yes, that
in
is
a
played
bar.
traditionally in bars on a
Yes.
green felt table.
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go. We're getting it now.
Yeah. I'm with
So
you.
he painted racquetballs, which are like a rubber, and so they had a very faint thud when they hit each other. They're like,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Huh, that's
just
cool.
another way of doing that.
I've never thought about that.
No,
I never
neither.
think about you.
Yeah, thanks. This is why I've been taught from people like you.
People like you.
You're the reason why I learn ADR. Why I know how to do ADR.
Actually, Resolve also has a whole section for ADR.
Oh, so cool.
It's very cool.
I'll have to get into that.
I will force you to have a play later.
Yeah. You won't have to force me.
I've been playing with Velcro this week.
You have.
It's not on the board, but I just want to talk about it. I went and bought Velcro this week, just the Velcro dots, and it is just the best.
Yeah.
It is just so good. I was gonna grab my whiteboard
But it's over
eraser,
there.
but you've put it over there.
See, that's how cool it is. You can put it over
Yeah,
there.
you can put it anywhere. But yeah, so like it's been so handy. It's just like a little studio hack to have stuff Velcroed to things.
Yeah.
Just to be like,
Like
oh,
remotes. and-
like I've got all my battery chargers and stuff out of the way and like against the side of something, just hanging
Yeah.
there. And if I ever need to take it somewhere, I can just rip it off, and it's not there permanently.
Very cool.
Great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I threatened you before with putting Velcro dots all around the house.
You did, and I don't appreciate
And
it.
I'm going to put your stuff in
Yeah.
random places.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't appreciate it.
No, we don't need to talk about it. It's just going to happen.
I'm just looking. I have this. None of what I'm about to say is on the board. I feel kind of bad, but
That's fine.
I downloaded the new Microsoft Flight Simulator this week.
It's definitely not on the board.
It's absolutely not on the board, and I do kind of want to talk about it for a second
Yeah.
because what a technological achievement that game is.
Yeah.
It is just insane. So for those of you who don't know, right, it uses Bing Maps data and streams it while you're flying to create realistic terrain.
Oh.
And it uses the current weather patterns of wherever you are. So right now, you could fly over California and fly over the California wildfires.
Wow.
It is insane.
That is very cool.
And yesterday, I booted it up for the first time, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I can find my house.
Yeah.
I found my house.
Was it like...
It was really, really weird.
Whoa.
Because it's like, and I'm not going to explain my house because I don't
Someone
really
might
want to
find
dox
it.
myself.
Yeah.
But the big orange thing over there.
It's orange?
Yeah.
Oh, the square thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Clear as day.
Wow.
Very strange. And
That
my
is
actual
awesome.
house is like standing up. It's not just like flat. It's like a house.
It's a house.
The shed is like a house. It's really weird.
That is so cool.
Yeah. But like it is so cool.
Yeah.
And I like flew over Redcliffe and like over the Redcliffe Bridge and stuff, and
Yeah.
that's all there.
Wow.
It's it's not just like a random map. It is
It's-
like actually where you live.
Wow.
So yeah.
I'd be really interested to look into like the sound design and editing of all that.
Yeah. Well, I can boot it up after the show and show you.
I think you should.
But I was very impressed. The camera needs work. The camera's really rough.
Yeah.
But everything else is very cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
You wanted to talk about something else, didn't you?
Did I?
I think so.
No.
After props?
No.
You said you wanted to talk about props, and then you wanted to talk about pre-pro.
Oh, pre-pro.
Pre-pro.
So, pre-production.
Also, sorry, just before you start, I have no idea when those cameras are going to shut off because my timer stopped.
Ah.
So, at some point...
That's why I just stopped just then, because I thought you were going to change them.
Right. Anyway,
Yeah.
carry on.
So, pre-production. Last week I just spoke about a few things that were important, I guess, in recording, like microphone placement. But pre-production, I've learned that having good pre-production is very important and very helpful. There's actually one of my classes in uni. This is going to blow your mind a little bit, I think.
My mind.
Yeah, your mind.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah.
The whole 12-week class was just pre-production for a project that's happening next trimester.
That doesn't really blow my mind that
okay.
much. But
I thought it was amazing when I heard about it. So we were doing it. I'm doing it for 3 films, and so there were things like budgets, location scouting. There were color things, working out what color it's going to look like, working out props, working out sets, working out actors, auditions. The list goes on. But now that we've done all this stuff, we're ready to shoot in 2 weeks, and
are you actually shooting it?
yeah,
Ooh.
all 3.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're
That's
doing
cool.
One's happening in 2 weeks, and the other 2 are happening in 3 weeks.
That's so sick.
Yeah, it's happening.
I want to know what they are.
I can tell you what they are. I'll tell you now.
Oh.
One of them's a film called Lemon, and it's about a girl who goes back to her hometown because her father has passed away, and she's driving his old car, and it runs out of fuel, hence the name Lemon, and it's also a yellow car.
I don't get why it's called Lemon.
Because cars that break down are called lemons.
I did not know that.
Didn't you know that?
No.
Have you been living under a rock?
A little bit.
Cars that constantly break down are, yeah.
Okay.
Lemons. Yeah. Our old territory was a lemon. So bad. What was I saying? Yeah, so that's that one. So that's sort of a sad coming of age kind of story, which will be really cool. There were some really nice like locations in Toowoomba that we're filming for that. Lots of pre-production for soundtrack and working out how we're going to do ADR and set recordings in the middle of bum stuff nowhere. And so the second one is a musical. I think it's about 15 minutes, but there's one song in the middle of it, and it's about this guy who is going out with this girl for the first time, and it's like, it's going to happen tonight, you know?
Yeah.
And he's going to the... It's really quite funny. He's going to the convenience store to get supplies, and then he's like... And then he's... I think he's walking out of the convenience store, and he starts singing. And he's like, it's going to happen. And then he goes and meets the girl and it's still singing. And it's going to be very funny. I'm really looking forward to that one. But like auditions had to happen really early for that one. And rehearsals are running as we speak. So excited for that one. And then the other one, I don't know very much about, to be honest. So much that I thought it was a comedy, but then someone told me it was a horror. So I don't really know.
You're like,
Okie
dokie.
So we'll see what happens with that. But that's only on one location. And I'm only really doing on-set recordings for them. So
yeah,
I just have to show up on the day and hold the microphone. I'll make sure I take my pink shorts. Bless you.
Damn it.
I told you it would come halfway through the show.
Right before the show, I almost sneezed, and then Joe said, "Bless you," and then I didn't sneeze. And he went, "That's going to come out in the middle of the show." And it did.
It did. Right in the middle.
Not happy, Jan.
You're welcome. I really want to know what that means.
What?
Les Mis.
That's 24601. That's Who Am I?
Oh,
That's
right.
your thing.
My thing?
Yeah.
Oh, what was it going to do with this? I don't know.
That was your...
Oh, that's... Okay.
Yeah.
So, because I thought about this, this actually popped in my head after we did the episode with Maddie.
Yeah.
And I just haven't brought it up since because I'm a dummy.
That was like...
That was a long time ago.
That was almost 8 weeks ago. That was almost 2 months ago.
Wow. That was a long time ago. And I think I have deleted the questions that I asked Maddie, and I have. Damn. But I realized that we never done like a get to know you speed round or anything like that for us. So I don't know how much people actually know about us. Because I do sound stuff, and I think that's about all they know.
I do photo and video stuff.
Yeah.
And that's about all they know.
Yeah, exactly. So,
well, I am not educated.
You're not
Joe is
educated.
educated.
I think they probably know that. What about, okay, what
Excuse you.
got him.
Ouchie.
What is your favorite chocolate bar?
My favorite chocolate bar? Probably Cherry Ripe.
Cherry Ripe?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's yours?
I don't know. I like all chocolate.
Fair.
Except like Boost.
I feel this isn't constructive learning.
This?
No.
No.
Well, you're at uni
Yeah.
studying sound design. You're almost done.
I am nearly done, actually.
3 months left.
Yes. Very exciting.
And then you have a degree.
Woo!
I dropped out of my first degree. I'm technically in my second degree in a 6-month break. So I am not educated.
Or currently
being educated. I am just working.
Yeah.
And taking pictures and making videos.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really feel like that's about it, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know.
We covered most of how we know each other in last week's episode.
Yeah, I just realized that as we were going through that.
But yeah.
Oh well.
We're just some dudes who
do some stuff.
Who do some stuff and enjoy the stuff.
That's it.
And I can't do the sound stuff, and
And
Joe
I can't
can't
do
do the
the
video stuff. So together we make one competent filmmaker.
Yes.
Oh,
man.
I kind of want to move on to the next one.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I have talked about this guy before. I don't know his real name. I think it's not David Schwimmer. David something. David Sandberg.
David Sandberg.
And David Sandberg, he directed Shazam. He directed Annabelle Creation. He directed Lights Out. But he started out as a short film maker and made short films for YouTube and that sort of thing. And he is still very active on YouTube and consistently comes out and like dissects his like high budget films. Yeah. Which is really, really cool.
That is cool.
And his latest thing, he was talking about using cuts as visual effects. Yeah. So rather than actually creating and using visual effects, he just cuts.
Right.
So an example that he had was in Annabelle Creation. There was a scene... No, in Lights Out. In Lights Out, there was a scene where he had a little girl sitting at a table, and then the little girl transforms into like this super tall, creepy demon lady.
Right.
And the way that he did it was he did a shot from behind of the little girl at the table, like an actual little girl at the table, and then like going like... and just like being weird. Yeah. And then it cuts to a shot from in front, and then in between those cuts, the actor is swapped to an actual woman, like a grown lady. And then it cuts to her arm, and then her arm, and it looks like her arm is growing because she starts out like this, and then goes like,
Oh.
And then she stands up, and it looks like she's turned from this child into this creepy old big demon lady.
Wow.
And he hasn't used any visual effects.
That is really
It's literally
cool.
just cutting and sound design.
Wow.
Yeah. So things like that. The other one was a scene from Lights Out where a woman gets thrown from a balcony. And they did it by, they threw the stunt lady off the balcony. And then the second she hits the ground, so it goes falling, 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 falling. And then she goes smack. And then when it hits the ground, it cuts to the exact same shots, exact same setup.
Yeah.
But now it's the actual actress and not
Wow.
the stunt double.
Wow.
And if you slow it down,
Yeah.
the cut is so obvious.
Yeah.
But in the scene, it's like a split second, and your brain doesn't have time to comprehend it.
Yeah.
Super cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah. So just things like that were really, really cool. So I really enjoyed seeing that simplicity and him just being like, yeah, it's fine. Like,
Just cut it.
No one will notice.
Yeah.
And he's talking a lot about how simplicity was so important in his films, especially with those cuts. But also, he does a lot, well, not a lot, but some
Yeah.
of his special effects himself,
Right.
which is I thought was very cool. So
Yeah.
the opening sequence, the opening, like what's the word? The title card, the title shot of Annabelle, he shot himself. He did it himself.
Wow.
And it's entirely a composite that he made in Davinci Resolve, with no other help.
Wow.
And there's also another shot where it's going into a room, and the camera the camera pans up into the dark, and then it continues rotating, and then you're like in a well.
Whoa.
And he just did that in Blender.
That is amazing.
Yeah. So like AAA budget, and he was like, well, I'll just do it myself. Because the thing that he had was like, I don't know how I could storyboard and explain this shot to someone.
Yeah.
So it's easier if I just do it.
Yeah.
And then there was one other one that he did where it was the credits for the film. And the credits of the film for Annabelle is in Annabelle, there's like a closet that's lined with pages from the Bible.
Yeah.
And the credits shot was a camera kind of floating around this room really close to all these pages. And like floating past the pages as the credits show up.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I'll just do that myself. Because he was like, I don't know how I could explain to someone that I want it to float just over the top of these pages, but have some of them a bit weird and like that sort of thing. So he's like, I'll just do it. Yeah, and it was
That is
just really,
awesome.
really cool to see. And it's like a 5-minute video of him explaining this stuff. And it's just so much information.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoy that. So, you know, I kind of wanted to talk about like simplicity and like
Simplicity, yeah.
how I know how, like I just explained how I would do it in film, like with cuts and with doing it yourself and with simple effects and that sort of thing. But what sort of thing would there be for that in sound?
Well, first thing that comes to mind would be the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And really just stripping it back. So pulling out different instruments that you don't need. Let's say you're doing a film that you're not going to like record an orchestra for, something that you're producing all in the box in your DAW. It'd just be pulling out all the things that are, I don't know, too complicated. When you talk about simplicity, a movie comes to mind. Have you seen A Ghost Story?
Which one's that?
It's called A Ghost Story. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I never heard of it until someone mentioned it at uni. And there's this one scene. It was amazing. So it's sort of about this. It's a story about this lady's husband who becomes a ghost.
Is it just called Ghost? Is this the one with the clay scene where they're like,
Maybe.
does it have David Hasselhoff in it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe. I haven't seen it.
Okay, I think the movie you're talking about is Ghost.
I think it's A Ghost Story. Well,
Maybe it has different names in different countries.
maybe.
Carry on. Keep talking while I search.
But it's like, it's not a scary movie. And so the ghost is sort of attached to this apartment or house then. And he doesn't haunt anyone or anything like that. He kind of just hangs out and he's there. But there's one scene where he's there in the room. Bless you. Bless you.
I'm so sorry.
they're in the room watching his wife, and she's crying, like sobbing, sitting on the floor of the kitchen eating this pie.
This movie looks so weird.
Wait, show me. I don't know if that's it.
There is 2 movies. A Ghost Story came out in 2017, and Ghost came out in 1990.
Right, I think it's A Ghost Story.
Right, they're both very similar.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Go on.
And yeah, so she's sitting in the kitchen eating this pie, and it is literally a 5-minute scene of her just eating this entire pie, and the ghost is standing in the corner watching her. Like, yeah, he it looks like that, how he just kind of has a blanket over him.
Yeah.
But he's just standing there just watching, because it's her husband. And there's no soundtrack. There's just Foley. There's just what must have just been what they recorded on set. It's her hacking into this pie and eating it and sobbing.
Wow.
And just...
That'd be so powerful, though.
Yeah, and it's like a 4 or 5 minute shot, and then she runs into the toilet and vomits, I think. But yeah.
That reminds me a lot of that scene from the final scene of Call Me By Your Name.
Yeah.
Where he just sits in front of the fire for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And he's just breaking down in front of the fire. And that's simple in the other way, in that all the sound design is gone. And it's just music.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So
And even it's just a piano as well, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe later it adds strings.
I think the song, it's not Mystery of Love, it's...
Oh, that's right. It's an actual song.
Yeah, it's by Sufjan Stevens.
Yeah. But it's very simple, isn't it?
It is very simple, yeah.
So
It is, the final credit song is called... oh no, that's not it. Hang on. I'm gonna find this now. I've committed.
So yeah, if you don't need that 14 voice sawtooth synth in there, then take it out.
No, yeah, I was right. The last song is called Visions of Gideon.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
A beautiful song.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Super impactful having, and I've also spoken before about silent moments.
Yeah.
True silence in films.
Yeah.
And just as simple as, I don't want to put this explosion in. Rather than doing that, let's put nothing.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah,
And then
it
you're
can
like,
be like,
whoa.
yeah.
Can also be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's like, something's missing.
Something's missing, dude.
What was going through the sound designer's head? And he made this.
Probably not a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes simplicity is very much necessary, I think.
I definitely, yeah.
But yeah, that, like, I never thought about that, using cuts.
Instead of visual effects.
Instead of visual effects. Like, yes, to an extent, yes. Like, things that I just couldn't do, that you can do in cuts. Like, things like if someone gets a knife thrown in their head. Like, you would have a shot of someone throwing the knife and then whip panning the camera.
Yeah.
And then getting a prop knife and having it stuck to their head and then whip panning the camera and cutting in between the whip pan so it looks seamless.
Yeah.
That sort of thing makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
That's just like, all right, this is just a practical way for me not to have to actually throw a knife at someone.
Yeah.
But things like that scene with the girl, I would have just been like, oh, there's no way I can do this.
No, VFX.
Yeah.
Fix it in post.
Exactly. Whereas there were no VFX.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy to me.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
I think that's what, things like that is what separates the best and, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really...
Professional and this.
Yes, and okay.
Yeah.
I really, really hope that he gets some really high budget films, because I really want to see what he can do with a super, super high budget, because the stuff that he can do with a low budget, his short films, man,
Yeah.
are incredible.
Right.
Incredible.
Yeah.
He does all his own VFX and stuff, and he does it all very simply. Like, a lot of them are literally just animated in Photoshop.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's so effective. He also has a black magic, actually. Fun fact. He has
that one?
Yeah, that one.
That one.
That exact camera.
Wow.
Yeah.
We have his camera.
So, I have no excuse.
No, you don't.
No. In fact, I think I have the exact same setup as him.
Wow.
Give or take.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about looking into VFX for your films?
Yes, actually. I have been. I really want to get serious about VFX, especially in Davinci Resolve, because it's so accessible.
Yeah.
So I think I will for like in Resolve. I look, I can do very basic effects in After Effects. Like I can track a camera and I can put something in and give it a shadow and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I can match it so that it's accurate, that sort of thing. So I can do very basic things, but like modeling or anything node based, I'm just like, I don't know what to do here. There's a guy on YouTube, Ian Hubert, who is just a magician.
Yeah.
Like he the things that man can do in Blender blow my mind every single time.
Yeah.
He has this one video. He's currently working on a mini series, and he has this one video that shows how he did the whole opening sequence, and it's literally just a room with with green screen floors and green screen walls, and this just acts out the scene, and it's a side by side shot for shot comparison of the green screen and then what he's done with it, and it is just incredible.
Yeah.
Because they only have like 2 actors or 3 actors actually on set.
Yeah.
And then everything else is just modeled and
Wow.
created in post. Yeah. So I'll show you that video. I'll show it in the Patreon show so that we can watch it. But yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I will get into VFX and stuff.
It'd be so hard.
Yeah,
It's
it's
insane.
really something that I need to really devote time to.
Yeah.
Like that would be I'm on holidays from work week after next week. I think I'll devote a lot of time to it then.
Yeah.
I'm devoting this weekend to learning Resolve. I'm going to edit this episode in Resolve.
Oh, nice.
That's going to be my just do it.
Yeah.
Like,
Days a day.
yeah, exactly. Just going to commit to it and be like, all right, this is happening. I have to. Either this works or the episode doesn't go up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I am committed to this.
All right.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about before we go on? There's nothing else on the board, but
No.
it's totally up to you.
Well, I kind of want to do a real big jump
Okay.
back to this. Just came into my head about the flight simulator.
All right. Yeah.
When I was talking about how they did the sound design for it, something very interesting with sound design for games. It's completely different to films. So, for something, let's say for a first-person shooter, someone's footsteps on grass, right? You don't. So how they would do that is they go into this program called Fmod, and you put in different sounds of different footsteps on grass, and then pretty much you set it up, you edit it all up so that when you trigger that sound, it'll play straight away. And then you can set it up so if you put in maybe 9 different sounding footsteps, you can trigger it to play randomly for each different sound.
Wow.
Because obviously you're not going to there's not only one footstep sound for every single footstep, because that'll just be
Like Minecraft.
yeah, exactly. So that's how they do that, and then they export this Fmod trigger. I don't know what the export is exactly, but they export that and put it into Unity, and then just literally place it into a 3D world.
That's
and it's like,
crazy.
this belongs here now. So when
You live here.
yeah, so and then you do all this coding, and it's like when the player steps in this area, one of these 9 sounds will trigger.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
I really like that.
it is really cool. And same with, so let's say something that stays in one place, like a fire. You would put it in Fmod. You would get your sound. You would edit it so it's loopable. Because if a player walks off and comes back in half an hour, there can't just be no fire sound anymore. And it's like, sorry, reset the game so you can hear it again.
Reset the game for fire sound effect.
So you make it loopable, and then you can set, I think in Fmod you do this, you set like parameters for when the sound will start getting softer.
Right.
Because if the player walks away from it, it can't be the same loudness.
Yeah.
It can't be just as loud as it was when they're standing right next to it. So you set parameters for where it starts to get softer and then for when it disappears and you can't hear it anymore. And then again, you export that and into Unity, and they do the exact same thing. They place it there in this 3D world.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And so then when your player walks up to it,
It gets louder as you get closer.
yeah.
Wow.
So
That's
it's
intense.
completely different. Yeah.
It's a lot more. I feel like it's not a lot more thought. It's a very different thought process.
Yeah, 100%. Even for, so let's say, if the character wears armor, yeah, and you got to have maybe 5 or 6 different chink sounds.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't sound the same every time.
Yeah, because when you're doing Foley, it would naturally sound different every time because you're doing it along with the actual audio. But with a game, it's just baked in.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't know.
You don't have a guy in your room with you going
Chink, chink, chink. And then you're like, oh, this is going to be a big one because he's jumping down a long way or whatever.
Yeah.
And so all of those things, Fmod is like the industry standard, I believe.
Yeah.
And then they put it in Unity or whatever program, and yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
It's very cool.
Sick. All right, let's do Foley Fact.
Alrighty.
Joe's got a Foley Fact. Foley Fact. Joe's got a Foley Fact. Yeah. All right, Joe, you got a Foley Fact?
It's gone on me.
The only week that I don't ask you if you have a Foley Fact, and you're like
freaking out. I do have one now.
Ah, cool.
From Paul Davies. This one is from. So I forgot to write down what it was for again, so I had to read it. It's for cocking a gun. If you don't have a gun handy.
What kind of gun?
This one is for a pistol.
Right.
So a good emergency replacement if you don't have a starting pistol. Briefcase.
Briefcase.
Wow.
Briefcase.
Briefcase.
Yes.
Briefcase catches being closed slowly, and you close mic it.
Ah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Those vintage briefcase.
I quite like that.
Yeah.
Like my
very simple.
my messenger bag. You could also use. Like
you could. Yeah. Because you got the initial click as it goes in, and then click as it locks in.
Yeah.
Boom.
All right. Let's finish it up there.
Let's do it.
Thank you so much for listening / watching this episode of The Froe Show. That was episode 27. Check us out on social media at The Froe Show on everything.
Yes.
DM us.
Everywhere.
Everything. Send us pictures of you watching. I don't care. Don't make it weird.
Yeah, maybe don't.
And yeah, follow us there.
Catch you later.
Check us out on Patreon. Patreon.com/Froe Show. You get the After Froe Show. We will be doing one this week, which is fun.
We will.
And we will see you over there. Otherwise, thank you so much. Joe, do you have anything you want to say?
See you next week.
See you next week for episode 28. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.